It's Sunday, September 18th, 2022. This is all about your Benjamins and your weekly mixtape and weekend review video. Hope you had a great week. Let's get to the headlines that may or may not be impacting your financial plan and portfolio. And as you can see, if you're watching this over on the blog, there's just a few articles down below. If you're listening on the podcast, you head over to the blog on All About Your Benjamins, you'll see the articles and the links to all of them as well. We'll start off with a warning from FedEx. So last week, FedEx came out and said that due to a declining shipping through them, they are forecasting a bigger slowdown in the globe than expected. And that punished the stock. The stock was down like 20% that day, but also spooked the markets as well. And obviously, looking at shipping, what's going on and the trends there are an indicator of what's going on in the economy and to make a prediction of what might be coming up. So if they're seeing things slowing down and they have their measurements and their metrics, if it's continuing to slow down, then they believe that we may have more slowing in the globe going on. For what it's worth, anytime I've ever had anything shipped to me via FedEx, it's been the worst experience ever. So I don't know if there's any chance that some of this FedEx is people quit using them and shift over to UPS or USPS or even DHL. At the end of the day, I know that really that's not the reason why for the decline in their shipping, but I've never had a good experience with FedEx. I don't know anybody ever uses them, and the same is true of my wife. So interesting that just they're the ones having all this control and on that day of what's going on in the market, and truthfully I don't think they have a very good business, at least not here in Fishers, Indiana. Let's get to the market. So the markets had a bad day earlier in the week, down anywhere between 3 and 5% on the big indexes, the S&P, the NASDAQ, the Dow Jones, down big, mainly because of the CPI rating. So inflation reading was down to 8.3%, but that was more than what was expected. So since it was more than what was expected, the market does what it does. It takes this new information. We expected it to be lower. It came back in higher. We have to reprice. That means all these things changed, and the market sold off pretty heavily on that day. Small little bounce back the next day, but nowhere near as much as what went off. So the headline says it's the worst day since June of 2020. I don't like those headlines. There's some truth to it, but comparing and making it worst day since is just, I think, more dramatic than anything, trying to pull you in to read it. But nonetheless, we did have a doozy of a day this week. 3% down in one day is not something we want to see, and the markets are kind of trying to find themselves right now. Mortgage rates, another big metric for a lot of you out there maybe looking to buy a home or move or sell your home. Mortgage rates are back up above 6%, which we haven't seen those numbers since back in 2008, 2009, I think it was. It's been a while since we've seen interest rates that high on a mortgage. So what is that going to do? Obviously, it'll probably slow down the moving that we saw over the last couple of years. If you think about it, people usually price their home purchase based off of the monthly payment. And now a house that they could have bought a few months ago now becomes too expensive, or what an individual or family can afford on a monthly basis buys them less house. So there's some talks about what does this do to housing prices? Will they come down? Is this the beginning of another 2008? Only time will tell. I don't know if it's the beginning of a 2008. Yes, I think that this will lead to housing prices coming down because people are going to be less willing to pay those high prices because the interest rates no longer allow them to do so. And if somebody really wants or really needs to sell, then they're going to have to bring the price down to meet the seller somewhere in between. So we got to find a new potential equilibrium. Now, it just may mean that people stay put longer and they're not moving and upgrading or changing houses just because it's so cheap and easy to do so. But nonetheless, I know a lot of you out there are looking to buy a home, and this is a big impact on that decision and what's going to be best for you and your family. Next up, we'll go to crypto. The Ethereum merge has been complete. If you're not interested in crypto, this probably means absolutely nothing to you, but you may have heard about it, so at least touch on it real quick. We're not going to get into the very deep. We're going to talk about what the impact might be because I don't think it's anything. But basically what happened is Ethereum went from proof of work, which is how they verify the blockchain. That's how Bitcoin does it. That's the computers solving of the problems across the globe. Has a lot of energy waste in it to do so. It's a little bit more expensive. They have been working on a while on kind of Ethereum 2.0, which is proof of stake. So instead of having to use all of that energy, people take their Ethereum, they stake it, they basically lend it out to help verify and keep the blockchain running. So that transition was done. For everything I can see and hear, it went off without any problems, and now Ethereum is going to be operating at a much more energy efficient, a lot quicker, a lot cheaper. If you remember back in the day, last summer, when the gas fees on Ethereum were almost more than some of the NFTs you might have been trying to buy. Those things should come down. It should be more cost effective, which will make Ethereum more competitive against some of the layer 2 things that are going out there as well. So it's a big move, a big day for Ethereum, but if you blinked, you didn't notice it, and which is probably a good thing. And then finally, we end on a positive note. The founder of Patagonia decided to basically turn the company over to the world, as he's saying, that Mother Earth earns Patagonia. He gave away the company in a pledge to help fight climate change, which is what the company is all about. So pretty cool in that you have somebody who has this very profitable business that decided not to focus only on the profits for him and his family, but for greater good. So it's put into a trust, and the trust has voting rights, and it will prevent it from going public or being sold privately so that it can continue to send money out from the profits every year to fight climate control. So really, really cool. Is that the best thing to do for him? Yes. Would you do that? Maybe, maybe not, but I think it's admirable, and it's also very refreshing to see somebody practice what they preach. You have a company that's all about fighting global climate change, and not very many companies who talk about it actually do anything about it, and this guy went to the extreme and turned the company over so that everything goes towards that. So pretty cool story there. All right, that's it. Try to keep it short and sweet this week. Hope you had a great week. If you are anything interested in the financial services world, you're probably seeing from this last week all of the videos from the Future Proof Conference or Festival that was out in Huntington Beach, California. It was a great conference, left me very optimistic about the future of the profession, a lot of good things going on. And as Silas comes into the picture, we'll wrap things up. So
there you go, madam.
Thank you, sir. So if you're interested in that, I'll have a write-up later this week about my experience at Future Proof, what it meant, the exciting things that came from it, and just the inspiration I saw amongst all these great financial advisors, investment professionals there to try to get better as financial advisors. Yes, it was in California. Yes, it was nice, but there still was a lot of growth that happened for the individuals who attended it. That conference probably changed the way that conferences will be done in financial services and probably other places as well. So kudos to everybody at Advisor Circle and my friends over at Holtz Wealth Management. All right, with that, we'll let you go. Have a great day, and we'll see you all in the next episode.